My role is a lot of things, combination of many things, basically. But the fundamental role would be to see that what we are doing, what the organization does, is in line with the vision and mission that we want to reach at the end of it. So, along those lines, I work with the team in strategizing, in innovating our programs, trying to see what are different things that we can do to reach our vision and mission. For that, we build systems in terms of monitoring and evaluation, designing studies, building the capacity of the team, building their capacity to understand the vision of the organization, various things like that. Also, one of my main roles also in terms of working with the state in terms of advocacy and liaising, working with different stakeholders, especially at the state level with the department and with other organizations. That is also one of the things. Of course, there's a role also in fundraising. So, in a nutshell, basically, in a lot of to see that how the organization is working towards reaching its goal. Our vision is to ensure that every child has access to quality education so that they are able to learn and thrive with dignity. That is our vision. Towards that, we work towards ensuring that every child has a learning that develops their competencies, their capabilities, so that they are able to live their life. In future, they are able to develop the kind of skills and competencies that is required to live a life in the society or the community that we are in. Towards that, we also work towards seeing that all stakeholders assume ownership for the education system that we are in. So that is towards achieving the vision. That is the path, or that's the mission towards which we are working. I have always liked working with children. So even when I was in college, I used to work with different groups in terms of conducting camps, conducting classes. I used to take tuitions and things like that. After that, I also volunteered with a special school. So initially I thought I'll get into special ed. Then I realized that I would like to work with all kinds of children and see that, what are the changes that happens in the child. I like to work with communities. I like to work with people. So then I did my master's in social work and then started working with an education organization. And when I started working in the organization, initially it was with child labor. So I used to conduct raids, pull children out of work, putting them back to school, conduct NFEs, things like that. And then seeing the condition of the schools, realized that children from marginalized communities and from poorer communities don't have a chance in life with the kind of education that they're getting. Then the whole work with schools and government schools started like that. Decentralization is core to Prajayatna, because for us community ownership, all stakeholder ownership is something that we very strongly believe in, and that has been the crux of our work, where we work with communities. We believe that any sustainable change that can happen will only happen if the communities. When we say communities, it's not the immediate community that is around the school or the Anganwadi, but it is an all stakeholder ownership. And only when that, in a decentralized form, when that happens, it is only then that sustainable change can take place. So that is why our work has been centered around building capacities of different stakeholders, right, from the school management committees to panchayats, and of course, so that is working with the teachers. We believe their agency and their ownership of the entire learning process and of the school also is crucial to transformation of the school. So that has been the thing. So in that sense, it resonates with what Shikshāgraha is all about. Our whole system is centralized. Right? Our system functions in that way. We have designed our systems, we have designed our processes, everything in a way which can be easily monitored, which is why it is all centralized. So right from your curriculum to your midday meal centralization, to uniforms for everybody, examinations for everybody, everything at the same time. Everything is designed in such a way not keeping the child in mind, which is actually the core of the education system. Right? It's not keeping the child in mind. It is kept with everything else so that everything can be monitored and everything can go on. So it is kept with teachers in mind, it is kept with department officials in mind, right? It is not kept with community or child in mind. But education is all about the community. It is what you want for your society. What you want for your society down the line, that will depend on the kind of education that you give your children. Right? If you want your child to be a child who's able to work in groups, who's able to collaborate with others, who's supposed to be treating others with respect, and then your system has to be like that. Your education has to be like that. You need to have, your learning has to be like that. You should be able to, the child should be able to learn with other children in collaboration. So the whole education in itself should be decentralized, right? It is something that as a community we need to decide what we want our children to learn. Collective action is when different people come together, different stakeholders come together. So we've had two ways of it. One is as organizations coming together and working with the department, or only organizations working also. We've had various experiences. One is when only organizations have worked together, not too much with the department, but we have worked together, come out with joint processes and learnings from each other, which we have done in Jharkhand. When we had a couple of organizations had come together, it was Education Collective, and we had worked there. Otherwise, in Karnataka, we've had experiences when organizations have come together in ECC and we have worked with the department. And we have come out with training modules, with curriculum for ECC, even for SDMC training. So that has been like organizations have come together and worked with the department. And then we've seen it being rolled out through the department, which is a way of working. I mean, that has seen a lot of impact also, in a sense. The other one is where we work with the school, with the SDMCs, with the communities, and with the department, with the teachers. So that's another form of collective action. So you have it at different levels. And all this we have seen does have an impact. We have seen impact from these various efforts that has taken place. We all need to join hands to be able to, when we talk about reform, it cannot be done with one hand or with one person. It has to be a collective action. People have to join hands and think of solutions that are scalable, that are impactful, and that will ultimately bring. That's the only way to bring about this transformation in the education system that we have. Working with a team or working with others and coming out with a solution together. I like short stories now, so I like Jumpa Libraries. I like Kite Runner a lot. I think in UP where we work with children with disability, so there was two children, Lakshmi Narayan and Zeenan, who was very, who were not in school and they had a lot of issues, and even the way they were being looked after at home was, they were not considered important, or they were not, as you know, like children with disabilities are considered a curse in society or burden. But after we worked with the families, the students started going to school. And the whole attitude of the school, the teacher, the other children, the peers, the way they started interacting with the children, the way these two kids, even though they were not very vocal, articulate, but the way they started going to the school and playing with other children, that was a very drastic change. And even the whole way the community members started talking about the children, not only these children, but generally about children with disability. It was a very drastic change that we could see after working with them over a period of time. It was not an immediate thing, but that is something that has stayed, those children and the way even the way they looked, the way they were dressed, all that changed drastically, and that was something that has stayed with me even now. Temperature in Barrage. What is it? Before going, because we had to pack, I knew it was cold, so other than that, M&E. Depends. I do take risks, but not overtly. Depends on the situation. Both are. Funder meetings I would like, because you get to talk more and discuss more things, but then from a perspective of, say, the organization taking the work forward, government official meeting. Collective action, decentralization, and working with systemic change. We all need to join hands to be able to, when we talk about reform, it cannot be done with one hand or with one person. It has to be a collective action. People have to join hands and think of solutions that are scalable, that are impactful, and that will ultimately bring. That's the only way to bring about this transformation in the education system that we have.